classic, dropping another carb block. I hope you guys and gals are having a wonderful day. If nobody tells you today, remember that God loves you, Christ loves you, and I love you as well. I'm on the way to work. I know that sometimes you want to stay home and things like that, but I thank God for a job to provide for my family, to provide for me, to provide, to tithe, to also, get everything ready for C3 Ultimate Wrestling and other things that I want to do. So, sometimes we ask God for things. Sometimes God allows us to experience it. Sometimes it's the best thing. Sometimes it's like, man, was I really ready for it? But this job that I do have, I am grateful for. Men are meant to work, especially husbands and fathers that went to work and to provide and protect. I know that the world is trying to tell people different with certain things. I know as a man, I know it's like, the world is saying like, men can't like open up and do certain things. Nah, you're supposed to. I mean, Christ did it himself. So remember that. Christ prayed for angels to help him with his angels when he was getting ready to do the ultimate sacrifice. So always remember that. Make sure you subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling, where I talk about professional wrestling topics. My second channel, me and my wife's professional wrestling company, C3 Ultimate Wrestling. I said it twice. Make sure you also subscribe to this channel, the Take It Home Podcast, where I talk about professional wrestling topics. And I'm putting my matches classic out for a professional wrestler of 13 years. This Sunday, December 7th, in Melrose Park at Club CLO. I think I'm saying it right. Make a Fab Mania debut. It's going to be very dope there. Get your tickets on Eventbrite. No Mercy in December is the name of the show. So make sure you get your tickets for that. As for the C3 Wrestling end, get your tickets for Big Business, BIG Business, February 21st, 2026. Dyer, Indiana, Harold's probably being you once again. Tickets are $5 off on Eventbrite, so go online and get those cheaper tickets, but they'll be $5 more at the door. Bars. What's going on, Raphael? God bless you. God bless you. Hey, what's going on? What's going on, Cream Fluff Stuff? Excuse me if I don't say your name right because I'm driving. Yeah, I just went live a few minutes ago. So she just started this live, so it's cool. I'm great. How are you doing? Yes, I am. Driving safely as much as I can. Going straight into the video. Like I said, if I'm gonna get into the comments, please understand that I am driving. Being the best wrestler doesn't make you the best wrestler. And I know that some people understand what I say when I say that. Right? Some people understand it and some people be like, well, Chris, if you are the best wrestler, how are you not the best wrestler? Well, first of all, I want to say wrestling is subjective, but I can't even really say it much more because of how long I've been in the business. And most of us know what a good and great wrestling match is. Now, people have their own opinions and things like that. People have their own biasness. They also have their own favoritism. So that also has a play in it. And also a disdain for a wrestler, even if they are a very great wrestler, right? But Arshawn and Yellow from Shout Out to Critically Drinking and Shooting from the Script. Last Wednesday we had spoke about Cream, C-R-E-A-M, and not Cash rules everything around me, even though it's Christ rule everything around me. Get the blessings, hallelujah. We talked about what C-R-E-A-M means, right? Crowd, rankings, earnings, achievements, marketability. And to me, that is a great scale on gauging what a great wrestler is, right? You have thousands, maybe you have a lot of talented wrestlers that are great in the ring, but they lack something else. Now, people are gonna smack their teeth and roll their eyes when they talk about, oh, what do you mean marketability? What do you mean earnings? What are that stuff doesn't matter? Yes, it does. It does matter. It does matter because it's a wrestling business. You want to be a wrestling business, not only a wrestling company, but you also want to be a wrestling business on the independent scene, especially early 2000s, late 2000s and stuff like that, before WWE started taking a lot of people off the roster, off the market and stuff like that. A lot of people were saying guys like Ricochet, and even Kenny Omega, who's in New Japan and stuff like that, and the Young Bucks. And a lot of these guys were considered like the greatest wrestlers. They were saying like these guys wrestle better than WWE wrestlers and stuff like that, and to each their own. You know, to me, when I saw their matches, I thought they were nice sometimes and great, but it wasn't something that was just like I just really loved. Could it have been how I was brought up into wrestling? Sure, but also as a fan and as a consumer, there was just something I just didn't like. I mean, even back then, you had wrestling fans who were independents. They were looking at it, and it was like they called it flippy stuff. They called it indie-rific. They called it a whole bunch of stuff. Jim Cornette is like very, very popular for doing that outside of his other wrestling achievements and stuff. They was talking about flippy, indie-rific stuff. He still talks about it to this day, right? So that's something too. I remember Ricochet was like one of the hottest independent wrestlers back in the day. Like people was booking him everywhere because of the stuff that he can do. The 450s, the double rotating moonsault. He was doing a whole bunch of stuff. He was doing a lot of athletic stuff, and it was impressive to see. But then it was just like, you know, a lot of this stuff was like, man, you should have not kicked out of this. And I'm using Ricochet as a good example because of how he is now. You know, he's still the same for the most part, except he's bald and has a microphone. And he used to be bald a couple times then too. But still, he has improved much on the microphone. You know, even when he was in WWE, I thought he did like a little better and stuff like that. But I don't think, no diss to him, a lot of people are considering him like one of the greatest wrestlers, despite the fact like what he can do and what he's capable of doing in that wrestling ring, right? So, what do you think is the most talented wrestler? I love AJ Styles. To me, AJ Styles is like one of the best active wrestlers now. I'm not going to Wendy's. But nah, I think AJ Styles is like one of the most talented. It's almost time for big business. Shout out to you. Shout out to Yellow. I was speaking about Cream. Well, I was speaking about what we were speaking about last Wednesday. So shout out to you and shout out to Arshawn, because those are great things that we can gauge on what makes people the best wrestler. When I say this too, just because you're good at wrestling moves, it doesn't make you the best wrestler. You can be a great wrestler and be a bad wrestler at the same time. I've been saying for years, these people are honking the horn because these people aren't moving. It's not me. I've been saying for years that, like, if you don't know how to cut a promo, somebody about to cut a promo now. Somebody is not moving. Why are they not moving? I hope they're okay. Oh my gosh. Anyway, sorry about that. Like, I've always been like, okay, well, when people saying like Ricochet is like is the best wrestler and the hottest thing, I was like, okay, well, can he cut a promo? No, because most of the time he just go out there and wrestle. Sometimes you can let your moves do the talking, but you still need to speak. I want to hear something. Like you're comparing these people to people who may have been born in WWE at the time, but they could cut a promo on the microphone or whatever like that. And it's funny because people love to say like on the independents, like, oh, well, we just want to see wrestling. We don't want to see talking, and that's fine too. But at the same time, when you hear a wrestler speaking on a microphone on WWE or even AEW, oh, they're boring. So what is it? You know, why don't you just use the same gauge? You know what I'm saying? So 6'7". Anyway, that's how I feel about it. I'm like, if you can't cut a great promo on the microphone, you could be a good wrestler, but I wouldn't consider you like the best wrestler. You know, crowd. For the beginning of the Cream, crowd. How can you get the crowd into it? You know, a lot of people do not like. Well, I don't want to say a lot of people got tired of Cody Rhodes' reign fast because of everything he did to get to that mountaintop. But the man can talk for 30 minutes and have you in the palm of their hands. Some people cannot do that. You know, WWE is known to start a show with 20, 25 minutes of a promo. Somebody talking, somebody come out, interfering, brawling, beginning of a match. But it's not a lot of times. It's rare, but it's not a lot of times where people say, this is boring, let's wrestle already. If they do, we don't hear it. You know, I remember WWE used to pipe voices and stuff like that. But anyway, still, that stuff is also like very, very important. You know, just doing moves. I remember one time when Hook started, and Hook started around the same time Dominic started, Mysterio, and I liked Dominic's match in when he went against Seth Rollins in the Thunderdome. But then like Hook did one match, and it was like, to me, I hated Hook's debut. I hated a lot of Hook's matches because they was trying to sell to me that this dude who's like a quarter size of his father can throw around 400-pound people because his dad is Taz, and he can no sell power drivers and stuff like that, and he could just easily choke these people out. And it was like, I remember people saying, oh, Hook is going to be better than Dominic. I'm like, are you serious? See, and that's the thing that goes into perspective. And then even just being sick of the WWE product at the time. I'm not going to sit there and say obviously it was the best product, but at the same time, off of one match, like if you're going to compare Hook's match, his first match to Dominic's against Seth Rollins, and to sit here and say, off of that match alone, that Hook was going to be better than Dominic, I was like, nah, I think y'all need to watch it a little more. And it's nothing against Hook, but come on, man. Like, stop it. Like, even now, fast forward, look at what's going on now. Dominic is like one of the top heels and stuff like that, and Hook's still been doing the same thing. So, besides like joining the ops and stuff, but he's still been doing the same thing and the same moves and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, what happened with that? Character. That kind of stuff is very important as a wrestler too. Wrestling is an investment, right? And it's very important to try to find something that gets the crowd into it. Marketability. People was wearing Rhea Ripley shirts and stuff like that. People was wearing MJF shirts and stuff when he was on the top of the stuff. Yeah, the Acclaim. Like, some people was wearing a lot of their shirts, even if they were a good guy or a bad gal. The Elite, when they had their Elite shirts and stuff like that, heck, that was the only thing you can buy at the AEW shop, apparently, at one time. Apparently, you couldn't even buy anybody else's shirt. All they had was AEW shirts and Elite shirts. But that was a big thing. Even when they was doing a Bullet Club on the independent scene, you'd go to a WWE show, or you'd go to an independent show, and people have having a Bullet Club shirt. Marketability. Earnings, you know, the Young Bucks and the Bullet Club and all of these people, they made a lot of money off of that. You know, sometimes these wrestlers is just like, y'all sit here and y'all say that these guys are the best wrestlers, but y'all not buying the merch. And I've said this before. I've dang near called people out on it. Y'all be like, support this wrestler, support independent wrestling, do this, support indie wrestling, go to your local shows. Y'all say all of this stuff and don't go to local shows at all. Y'all do everything but go to local shows. Like, y'all tell people, hey, don't spend all of this money on WWE products, support independent wrestling, and don't even go. Don't even go. Tickets be $5, $10, $15, and you don't go. And I'm not saying it as a complaint. I'm just calling out the hypocrisy when it comes to those kind of situations, right? You know, and I know a lot of people do that. And I'll be like, man, you got to be careful how you talk to these people, because maybe you'll push them from not going. But we're just going to be honest about the situation. You know, a lot of these guys were wrestling for free almost, or for a hot dog and a handshake. A lot of these tickets was like $15, $10. They was very, very cheap. And some people still didn't go because it wasn't WWE. Or now it's because it's not AEW or WWE. So those are things to definitely think about when it comes to those kind of situations. Hook has been a big miss, not gonna lie. Six, 7. Oh boy, nigga. Yeah, Carmelo Hayes, that's a good point. Shelton, and I like Shelton, but I've said the same thing about Shelton, is that Shelton is a very great athlete, but Shelton cannot talk on a microphone. If he had MVP back in the day, sure, right? If WWE would do it, because we all know about WWE with certain things, but he couldn't talk. Lashley couldn't talk. Like, but I'd give more grace to Bobby Lashley because of how he looks and the believability that he carries. You know what I'm saying? But that's very, very important. OTC always better than anyone. We have opinions. Not right. No, it's fine. You cool. Yeah, but yeah, Dominic, look at what Dominic has been doing. And it's like, if it's just about wrestling, then why aren't people saying that Hook is better than Dominic? Like I said, I thought Dominic did great against Seth. And then honestly, he had to go against so much adversity because he was Rey Mysterio's son. And Rey Mysterio is one of the biggest faces and greatest underdogs, one of the best. And those are some big shoes to fill. Well, that's a big mask to wear. You know what I'm saying? So it's very easy. It's very easy to be like, oh, okay, well, this person is a great wrestler, but I wouldn't call him like the greatest of all times and stuff like that. I spoke about it before. Stone Cold is considered one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. But look at his moveset. He wasn't doing Stunning Steve moves or the Ringmaster. He wasn't doing all of that stuff, man. He was doing middle fingers. He was drinking beer. He was kicking people. He was mud stomping. Couple elbow drops, Stone Cold Stunner. He wasn't doing a lot of stuff, but he's considered one of the greatest. Why? Because Cream rises to the top. He gets the crowd, the rankings. He's going to be top ranked, top 5, top 3 earnings. People still wear Austin 316 shirts. This man charges like $3,000 for a Stone Cold Stunner. Like, not only do you have to pay to bring this man in, feed him and fly him out, get him flued out, but you also have to pay him to do Stone Cold Stunners. Achievement, multi-time world champion. Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer. TV shows, successful podcasts, own beer. There's a Broken Skull Rats. I know you don't do that show no more. Marketability. Bald-headed dude who was against the establishment. He ain't even got to say bald-headed dude. Just somebody that's against the establishment. Great things, right? Those kind of things is very important to think about when it comes to professional wrestling. Like, if you don't cover the cream, what is it? You can change. Bryan Danielson is a great example of one who changed with promos and had character in WWE. I know a lot of people, I know he on this anti-WWE stuff about his WrestleMania match wasn't that important, and if it wasn't for Cody, if it wasn't for AEW, and Cody wouldn't be a main eventer. I know he's on that, but let's be honest, WWE helped that man's career. It helped him become more popular, because just because you're popular on the independents and you have great wrestling doesn't technically mean that you're the best wrestler or the greatest wrestler. The Yes movement, the No movement, the stuff with Kane, all of that stuff helped Daniel Bryan become a household name. And Bryan Danielson, a lot of people love him and stuff because of the WWE. So if you're going to sit here, especially him talk about what AEW's done for Cody, we can't sit here and act like WWE didn't do a thing for Bryan Danielson. Because remember, they fired him because he choked somebody with a tie. Justin Roberts with a tie. They fired him, but then they brought him back because they believed in him. So, but yeah, I'm mad. I can go for a tangent, but maybe we'll do a part 2. Let me know in the comments, because I'm definitely at work and I ain't trying to be late. I hope you guys and gals have a great day. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.